Dear viewers, welcome to Lit Life, channel dedicated to literature, language and much more. Today we are going to solve the 2017 paper of TET examination. So let's begin. Here is our first question. It is basically a passage. We have to read the passage and answer the questions asked. There are 5 questions that are asked. So before we actually start reading the passage, I want to give you one important trick, that is, you first have to read the questions, then read the passage. That will save a lot of time and it will make our job easy. So let's quickly look at the questions first. 61 is Tagore turned cosmopolitan. There are 4 options given. Since he was traditional, since he was a self-educator, as he absorbed Western and Eastern culture, for being a poet. Okay. The question 62 is Tagore had a strong poetic sense besides what? Proficient in psychology, proficient in music and arts, being adept in sports, being tactical. Question 63 is Shanti Niketan was founded as an education center for Bengalis to impart education amongst the poor, as a center for meditation to realize Tagore's dream. Okay. Question 64 is Tagore wrote, I wish to keep my students Indian tradition of poverty to the government of India, the government of Bengal, the Prince of Tripura, the Prince of Patna. Next question is 65, that is Tagore attributes his tangible poem to whom? The Indian subcontinent, Shanti Niketan, his philosophy, his disciples. Okay. We got the questions, we know what questions are asked, so let's read this passage and try to find out the answers. Rabindranath Tagore's emergence as an educator was completely a matter of personal development, a necessary outcome of the entire course of his life and experience. He was born into a house which had been a center for numerous ethnic and social movements and a nucleus of all sorts of progressive ideas and actions. Tagore absorbed all the rich and varied elements of Eastern and Western culture that made him a cosmopolitan. Okay, we got the first answer here. Tagore turned cosmopolitan because he absorbed Western and Eastern culture. So for this question, the answer is 3. Okay, let's continue reading. Tagore found his days in traditional school wasteful and oppressive. He had acquired more knowledge by self-education that gave shape and direction to his numerous powers and potentialities. He evolved as an educated par excellence. Tagore was at home in humanities as well as sciences, besides having a strong poetic sense and in-depth intuition with philosophy and profound relation with music and arts. So we got our answer for 62, that is Tagore had a strong poetic sense besides proficient in music and arts. Okay. Now let's go. Tagore was, okay, this is over. The tangible embodiment of this realization was Shanti Niketan. It was founded on 21st December 1901 at the land purchased by his father, Maharshi Devendranath, to establish a place for meditation. Okay, Shanti Niketan was founded as a center for meditation. So for 63, answer is 3. Okay. Where were we? Okay, initially there were 5 students, all boys and all Bengalis, 4 of them from Calcutta, and the 5th the founder's son. Okay. Rabindranath Tagore himself describes Shanti Niketan as his tangible poem. As the best, the golden boat, Sonar Tori, carried the best cargo of his life. In a letter to the Prince of Tripura, the poet educator wrote. Okay, so he wrote this poem to the Prince of Tripura, or a letter to Tripura, address this particular thing to Prince of Tripura. So for 64, the answer is the Prince of Tripura. The last is actually in a letter, okay, I wish to keep my students away from all the luxuries of blah 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 in the ways of sacred and unsullied Indian tradition of poverty. The word, okay. He basically wrote, he is actually concerned about his students. Okay, he want to keep them away from the luxuries of European life. So basically he is attributing his poem to his thing to his students, which is his disciples. So that is the answer. Hope you understood the trick as well as the way we actually solve these problems. So let's move to next one. This is also a passage and it has question from 66 to 70, but this passage is unlike the previous one. It looks like it is a grammar passage, okay, which we usually get in high school. Hi, I am Renu. Okay, before we read this particular passage, we'll look at the questions first. 66, we have been given 4 options, that is, these are our like phrasal verbs. We have to identify which one fits there. Each has a different meaning and we'll try to see which one fits as per the given sentence. 67 is also actually auxiliaries and a verb here. 68 some kind of adjectives. 69 are also like more like an adjective or a noun phrase. 70, okay, I will pick one of the options from, okay. These are the 5 different questions based on this passage. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to fill each blank with the correct answer. Okay, hi, I am Renu. Well, I dash as the 4th child in a family of 7. Okay, I grew on, grew away, grew out, grew up. Grew up is nothing but raised. So grew up is raised. So the answer here is hi, I am Renu. Well, I grew up as the 4th child in a family of 7. Okay, that fits perfectly well. So we got the answer for 66, that is 4. The next is it was fun. I never dashed to look for friends to play with each other too, but we were always great friends. Okay, so now you realize that in a family of 7 siblings, you really don't need friends from outside because you will have friendship between siblings only. Okay, so that's why they need not look outside for friendship. But what fits here, in order to understand that, you have to understand the tense of this. Okay, because given options are had, have, liked, has. All the 4 have something to do with the tense. So if you guess the tense of this sentence, it will be easy for you to pick an appropriate one. Otherwise, it will be very confusing. So how to do that? Because it's a story of a Renu and she is narrating it in the past, because if you look at the previous 2 sentences, that is, it was fun and I grew up. So those 2 sentences indicate it's a simple past sentence. So tense is simple past. Here logically it should be simple past only. Okay. Now if that is the case, then the option have and has can be striked out. So what remains for us is had and liked. So let's see which one fits. I like to look. I never liked to look, or I never had to look. So more appropriate is had. Here had is not as a auxiliary, but it is more like a possessive, like I have coffee, I have a car. There we are using it as a marker of the possessive rather than the auxiliary. So here also I never had is actually a past marker of the possessive. Let's move to the other question, that is, on the other side, food was not in plenty because my father's dash income wasn't anything much. So father's dash income. So if this is the noun, so there has to be some kind of adjective here. So let's see what are the given option. Grand, sole, joint, huge are the 4 different options. If the father's income is sole and they don't had plenty of food, which means the income was not grand. If it is grand, they would have had a lot of things to eat. So grand and huge are the options which we can strike out. So what remains are sole and joint. Okay, so here there is only one person who is earning, because if there are more person earning, then obviously they would have had a lot of money, but the money was very less, the income was very less. So we'll go with sole instead of joint. Now the the 69th question is that taught me how to share and be happy with very little. Okay, very little we had. So whatever they had was very little. So the right option here is very little instead of little, a little, or the little. The best part of it was that we all learned to eat dash that came our way. Now everything, something, anything, nothing. So obviously they were eating whatever was coming to their way, which means something was coming. Nothing, it's not that nothing was coming, there was something that was coming. But the option here is not something. Let's see, we are actually eliminating nothing. So it could be everything, something, or anything. What fits better here? Best part of it was that we all learned to eat anything that came our way. Okay, not everything, not something, anything. जो भी आ रहा था वो खा रहे थे, which means anything. Okay, now let's move to question number 71. Read the conversation openers labeled as 1, 2, 3 and 4 given on the left and their responses as A, B, C and D on the right. Okay, how is it going? Lovely weather, I'll be in touch. It's been very interesting talking to you. Okay, this looks like in an order. Same here, great, bye for now. Yes, it is. Okay, these are the responses of these statements. So anyway, we'll start our conversation by hi or how are you, things like that. So in these 4 options, the first one is how is it going. For that, we'll say same here, great, bye for now. Yes, it is. Obviously, you'll say great or fine or not well. So in this case, it is B. So in the given option for first B, we have 2 such options here in 1 and 2. So we have to strike this out, these 3 and 4, because first is 1, we have guessed it correctly. Now let's see for second whether we have C or D. Lovely weather. For lovely weather, what response you would give? Same here. For lovely weather, C or D. Okay, for lovely weather, whether we will give bye for now or yes it is. Bye for now is like end of the conversation. We are still having a conversation. So lovely weather is yes it is. You are confirming that the weather is lovely. So second is equal to D. So our right option is 2. Got it. Now let's move to the underlined 72. That is the underlined part in one word is pronounced in the same way as the letter S in measure. Find it out. Okay, you have to have some understanding of the pronunciation in English. So here, though the letter is S, but the pronunciation of the S here is ja. It is not sa or sha, but it is ja, measure. So let's read these words. First one is accent. So the here pronunciation is sent, say. So that is not the option because it is not same as ja here. So dozing. Okay, it is za sound. Dozing is ja. There is a difference between za and ja. So this is also is the incorrect option. We'll go to the third one, garage. Okay, this looks like a sound similar to the S in this measure. Garage. Please don't pronounce it as garage. It's not garage. It's garage. Okay, in English. So the fourth one is passion. Sha. Ja. So the fourth one is also out. What we have as a correct option is 3. Measure, garage. Okay. We unlocked the door and entered our apartment. We were shocked to find the whole place in disarray. So what we have to do, identify the verb in passive voice in the above passage. Okay. Now, how do you actually, let's understand this trick. How do you actually understand how do you know, point out whether a particular sentence is a passive sentence or not? Okay, to do that you have to keep two things in mind. First, a passive sentence will have verb in V3 form. Second, that verb is preceded by an auxiliary. It could be is, was, have, has, something like that. So in this case, we were dashed. So unlocked is one verb here, entered is another verb here, shocked is another, find is another. So in one sentence we have two verbs, in another sentence we have two more. But we have to find the verb of the passive voice. So we unlocked the door is not a passive sentence, it is an active sentence because there is no auxiliary. This could be a V3, but it is also a V2 because there is no auxiliary here. Okay, because unlocked, unlocked. So V2 and V3 are same, but in a sentence if you have to identify which one is used as V3 or which one is used as V2, you need to actually also look for auxiliary with it. So in this case, the helping verb is absent, so this is a V2, it's a normal simple past sentence. In the next sentence, we were shocked to find. Now here, shocked could be a V2 or V3, but there is an auxiliary here or helping verb here, that is verb. So this is a V3 and this is an auxiliary. So this is an indication of what? Passive voice. So our answer is 4. Hope you understood that. Let's move to fourth one. I saw him crossing the bridge. The structure of the underlined part of the sentence is, okay, 4 different options are provided. We have subject, verb, blah, subject, verb, blah. Okay. Now first thing first. We know that a normal structure of a sentence in English is subject, verb plus object. So do we have all the 3 in this? Subject, I as a subject, saw is like a verb into V2 form, and him as acting as object here. Okay, so we have these 3 components, but there is another additional component, that is crossing. Okay, now crossing is actually a combination of cross plus ing. Okay, any verb plus ing is called gerund in English. Okay, you remember that. Any verb plus ing, verb in its ing form is called gerund. So here this is an additional part in the sentence. If you read I saw him, you are getting the complete sense, that is, it's a complete sentence, but there is an additional thing. Okay, now this could act as a adverb. Okay, saw him, saw how crossing, so it is acting as adverb. Okay, so so we understood that a verb plus ing is a gerund. So do we have any option like that here? Present participle, gerund. Yeah, so in the second option itself we got that answer. Okay, but the problem is this I is a subject, it could be a noun or pronoun. So we have not been given distinction. Subject, okay, fine. We have verb saw, okay, fine. But him here is acting as an object. So object could be a noun or pronoun, just like subject. But here it is given as noun. The fact is it is actually a pronoun, pronoun in objective form. So there is a mistake in the options given. It should be actually subject, verb plus pronoun and gerund. Okay, this is the right answer. So we'll move to question number 75. There is no coffee. Would you like a cup of tea instead? Identify the part of speech of the underlined word. Okay, what are the given options? Preposition, conjunction, adjective and adverb. Okay, now we know that a preposition shows the place or position of the noun. Is it showing a place and position? No. Conjunction joins the words. Is it a conjunction? Is it connecting 2 parts in a sentence? I don't think so. Adjective actually is a quality of a noun. Do we have a noun and then this is acting as an adjective? Would you like a cup of tea instead? Would you like a cup of tea is complete question. Then this is an additional part. Okay. Probably it is acting as a adverb. So we realize that it is not neither acting as preposition nor as conjunction or adjective. So this is an adverb. Let's move to next question, that is, you make a face. When you deliberately ignore them, make a face. Okay, this is an idiom. If you don't know, you please know that this make a face is like an idiom. When you deliberately ignore them, when you want to control your laughter, when you are not pleased about something, when you accept it in a straighter way. Okay, when you make face means you are not happy, you dislike something, you don't like something, okay, or you are not pleased with something. So in this case, the right option is 3. Okay, I will go to question number 77. Okay, those who have learnt English use terms like thank you and sorry more often than others who have not learnt English. It means that language is arbitrary, language exhibits redundancy, language is creative, language transmits culture. Okay, yes, language is creative, that is a fact. Language is arbitrary, it is also a fact. Language exhibits redundancy to some extent, yes. But here, if you are acting in certain way because of the language, then it is because of the culture that language carries. So the right answer here is language transmits culture. Let's move to question number 78. Using gestures, expressions and action is one of the techniques used to teach grammar, spelling, vocabulary and pronunciation. Okay, you don't need to use gestures, expression, actions to teach grammar or spelling. Okay, these things are useful in teaching vocabulary or pronunciation. Okay, vocabulary could be taught orally as well as in written, and pronunciation you cannot teach. You usually don't teach in written. You use oral skills to teach that. So the option could be vocabulary and pronunciation. So it is like 50-50 type. But for me, I think when you are as a student of advanced linguistics, I'll go with pronunciation. When you have to teach pronunciation, you use all these kind of things. So I'll go with pronunciation. 79 capital letters are not used to begin each fresh line of poetry. Okay, so in English we know that capital letter is used when the sentence starts to proper names of places and things like that, and in case of Quran, Bible and all, if you are using the word God or his attributes, you go for that. So let's see what are the options here. To begin, here you don't get confused because it is saying not used. Capital letters are not used. So to begin each fresh line of sentence, yes, we use it here, so we have to strike this out. To begin a sentence, yes, we use capital letter to begin a sentence, this is also out. To begin all adjectives which describe God, no, for this also we use capital letters, so this option is also out. So what we are left with is this last one. So let's see if this is correct or not. Capital letters are not used to write the pronoun I. No, we use actually. So this is the right options. We will go to 79. One among the following is not the suffix of adjectives. Identify it. Okay, we know that suffix and prefixes are two different things that are used to make new words, to modify the category of the word, from noun to verb, verb to noun. This kind of transformation is also taken place because of this suffix and prefixes. So given 4 different given here are 4 different suffixes: full, less, some, whole. Like success, successful, right? Meaning, meaningless, okay. handsome, okay, or wholesome, and childhood. Now, what we have to actually identify here is, among the following one is not the suffix of adjectives. Okay, so success, successful, successful person, so this is an adjective, and for adjective this full is used. We said meaningless, right? Meaningless sentence, so before sentence it is coming as meaningless, so this is an adjective. Handsome man, so before man it is coming as an adjective, handsome. Childhood, oh, this is not an adjective because adulthood, childhood are different, age categories basically. So it is about a certain age that we are talking about. So this is not an adjective, it is more like a noun. Okay, it is defining a certain age. The right option is this one. Now let's move to 81. No other democracy in the world is dash. Okay, you have to remember one rule here. No other is used in comparative degree. Most often it is used in comparative degree. In some rare cases it is used as positive degree, but we have to go with the general rule of the thumb, that is it is used for comparative degree. When we say comparative degree, the verb or the adjective would be in comparative form instead of positive or superlative. Now let's choose the right option to complete the sentence. Large, larger, largest. So this is a larger is a comparative one, largest is superlative, large is positive, this is also positive. So we can easily eliminate all these three. What we are looking for is a comparative one, that is no other democracy in the world is larger than India is the right option. It's a simple rule. If you know this rule, you will not get confused and you can easily choose the right option. And I told you, as I told you, there is also possibility of using it as a positive degree, which is very rare. If that happens, then no other democracy in the world is as large as India would be the option. But general rule of thumb, and mostly it is used for comparative degree. So no other democracy in the world is larger than India is the right option. Okay, 82. One among the following doesn't describe part of our body. Find it out. Okay, plump, which is rounded. Curly, in case of hair we use that. This is a body shape. Plump is a body shape, right? Those who are round in shape, like bulging belly and round like that, so that is plump. And curly we use for hairs which are not straight, right, which are not silky. Typically African and South Indian hairs are curly. And when it comes to wrinkled, yes, your skin become wrinkled as you age, as you become older with time. So trendy, trend is related to fashion, something new that comes in use becomes trend, like Halima Sultan's dresses are trendy these days. So this is not a kind of adjective which is used to describe body parts. These are different words that are used for describing different body parts. So this is right option is here trendy, because you have to find out not one. In the 83, what we have, the exchanges of a conversation between two people are given below in a jumbled order. Okay, identify their right order to make a meaningful conversation. Okay, this is a conversation which we have to make meaningful. That is, you have to arrange it. Not to, well, I'm beginning to hate my job. Hi George, how have you been? How come? What's the matter? I thought you quite liked it. So as I told you in the last example related to conversation, that we start with hi, hello, good morning, something like that. So in this given 5 sentences, the first should be hi George, how have you been? Okay, so if you look at the given options, 1 and 2 have C as first. So 3 and 4 we have to eliminate. What remains are these two. We'll see after C, A fits better or D fits better. So, hi George, how have you been? Not too well is one option. How come? What's the matter? Is the second option. So, if somebody is asking how are you, you will say I am fine or I am not well. So, in this case, hi George, how have you been? The answer is not too well. Then the question is how come? What's the matter? Then you will reply, I am beginning to hate my job. Then the last one, I thought you quite liked it. So the right option is A. We'll look at 84 now. Identify the correct question for the reply. No, they have to finance their own studies. No, they have to finance their own studies. Okay, in this, a question is asked to somebody who knows about these, scholarship or student aid, and to that question that person has responded, no, they have to finance their own studies. Who are they here? The students. Okay. So the question is asked to a person who knows about this matter, and the answer is related to the students. Okay. Do they finance your studies? Do they finance your studies? So this they here is not related to students. Do they finance their finance your studies? So this question is asked to students, but in the given question is basically it is asked to somebody who knows about the scholarship thing. It could be a government authority, it could be a person who distributes scholarship, or a person who facilitates filling the scholarship form and all, or an institution where the students have to learn. So in this case, this is an odd option, we'll strike it out. Do students in your country get a grant? Do you get credits for your exams? Do you get a grant for your studies? Okay. So this is not the right option. Do you get credit for your exams? Because this is not about exams, this is about student grant. We also called it fellowship or scholarship. So this option is odd one. So we are actually eliminating this. What we are left with is option 2 and option 4. Do students in your country get a grant? Is it the question to which this is the answer? No, they have to finance their own studies. Or do you get a grant for your studies? Now this question seems like it is asked to a student, okay, but the response that is coming from shows that it is not asked to a student, but it is asked to some authority, as I told you, to an institution or to a scholarship distribution agency or a government, something like that. So that is why the right option is, do students in your country get a grant? To that the answer is no, they have to finance their own studies. Looks slightly tricky, but you have to just visualize the conversation to understand it. Question number 85. Read the sentences A, B, C and D. Out of them, only 2 are grammatically correct. Identify them. Okay, a little tricky question here, because this kind of questions, are time consuming, because all the options look correct to us initially. Okay, but we'll try to solve that in the best possible way. A good thing is that any 2 are right and 2 are wrong. Okay, let's see. I am seeing the doctor at 10 o'clock. Perfectly fine. Now you are saying that this is a progressive tense and you have a specific time here, 10 o'clock. Yeah, this is how it is used in English. When there is a scheduled appointment, it could be tomorrow afternoon, or 10 o'clock in the next coming 10 o'clock or whatever in the future. So that kind of thing, for such kind of thing, I am seeing the doctor at 10 o'clock is a perfectly correct sentence. There is no grammatical error in this. Okay. I will see the doctor at 10 o'clock could also be a right one, but this is also used. I am seeing the doctor at 10 o'clock. I was wondering if you had two single rooms. I was wondering if you had two singles rooms. Okay. I was wondering, and after that, if whether things like connectors like that are correct. Up to this part it is correct. You had two single rooms. The problem here is you had two single rooms. But if you are familiar with these kind of sentences, what you usually get is, I was wondering if you would, that kind of politeness would be there. But here instead of politeness we have had two single rooms. So what we will do is, we have 50% finalized this and we are not 50% sure about remaining things. So we will move to next and see the other two. Okay. We have finalized first one. Okay. In 1, 2, 3, 4 options, do we have first anywhere? Yeah. So option 2 and 3 are the options where we have A as the right option. So now remaining is B or D. So in these, either B is correct or D is correct. So we'll see which one is correct. We'll skip this one because we don't need to look for that. That's a time saving thing we understood from this. So right option could be either B or D because we already finalized A. So we'll read B and we had some kind of doubt in B. So we'll check if D is correct. If this is not correct, we'll go with this. If this is correct, then we'll skip this one. I am liking this music. Okay. Now whether this is correct or not? No, it is not correct because I am liking this music. Listening to music is actually a habit. Okay. So when you like music, you don't say I am liking this music. I like this music is the appropriate option, and this particular question is asked in multiple competitive exams, not just this one, also in IELTS or TOEFL and advanced exams like that. So you just remember that this particular thing is related to habit. So for such kind of regular things, you don't use continuous or progressive tense. Rather, you just go with simple present one. I like this music. So we have got the answer, that is 3. This one is not the correct one. So we'll go with A and B. So our right options are A and B. Second one. Let's move to next one. The British is sailing from Southampton early this morning. Identify the appropriate word to fill in the blank. Fleet, herd, fleece, flock. Okay. We know that flock is used for a group of birds who go together. Herd is used for a group of animals that go together. Fleece and fleet are two different things. Okay. Fleet is basically a group of ships sailing together. Now here, this is about sailing. So we'll go with this one. The British fleet is sailing from Southampton early this morning. So right option is A. 87. The file folder with a collection of learners' work assembled over a period of time. Portfolio. Anybody's guess. Right? It is not. It's neither a journey nor journal. Sorry, it's neither a journal nor a diary, not a big book, but it's a portfolio. Collection of work is actually a portfolio. Okay, 88. The correct choice or option among the alternatives in a multiple choice question is called. The correct option is basically a key. It's anybody's guess because when you write your exam after a few days, the authority that conducted the exam releases a key. So that is a key. 88, 89. One of the tools of formative assessment is formative assessment. Okay, tool of formative assessment. Conventions of writing, reading comprehension, project work, grammar. It is basically a tool through which you go for or do formative assessment. It is project work. This is not specifically an English related question, but it's a general question from the teaching. One of the features of diary writing is maintaining proper layout of the text, design and graphics, use of polite language, use of language appropriate to mood. Now you have to remember a couple of things here. Diary is basically informal writing where you scribble something on a day-to-day or a regular basis of whatever happens in your life. So you need not have to worry about its layout, its design, graphic. Even polite language is not required because it's a informal kind of writing. Polite language is recommended in formal kind of writing. So we have to try to bring out the mood when you write a diary, because it is emotions that are more important when you are writing an incident from your life. So use of language appropriate to mood is the important thing. So with this we have finished the 30 questions that were asked in this particular exam. I hope you liked the video and the way we solved this paper. Please subscribe to this channel and share it with those who want to learn tricks and tips related to TET, TRT or DSC, and keep watching our channel for more videos. And you can also comment us about different topics you want us to make video on, and don't forget to click bell icon. Thank you so much.